Hello, Castro Valley High School Trojans. This is Principal Blaine Torpy with a message from the principal's office. Today we're going to watch a video about our expectations for student behavior. Each of the assistant principals is going to talk about some areas that we really want you to know about. All of this information is available in the CVHS Parent Student Handbook, which is available online. We can even get a hard copy for you. So sit back, relax, pay attention, and understand that while we want what's best for you and want to be positive, you do need to know what you shouldn't be doing.
The Castro Valley Respect and Civility Policy, or Code of Conduct, outlines student expectations in all areas of behavior on campus. We want to highlight just a few of the behavioral expectations that we feel are especially important for students to understand. Number 1, use appropriate language. When you speak loudly, you make a private conversation public, and anyone in close proximity to you becomes a part of your conversation. So please use school-appropriate language at all times. Number 2, dress appropriately. Please do not intentionally dress to provoke others. This is an academic institution, and in the way in which we do things, including the way we dress, should reflect a commitment of excellence. Please put some thought into what is school appropriate attire and what is weekend appropriate attire. Number 3, follow staff instructions without arguing. We are all human. We all, staff and students alike, will make mistakes. Regardless of what occurs in a situation, it is in everyone's best interest to follow staff instructions. You will always have an opportunity to explain yourself. We want to hear what you have to say. However, the opportunity to have those conversations is not when a staff member is giving you a directive. The opportunity to have those conversations will be after instructions have been followed and when the staff member requests an individual conversation with you. Remember, when emotions run high, logic runs low. Number 4, respect school property. Whether it's picking up after yourself or refraining from the urge to break or damage something, please remember that many people work extremely hard to keep CVHS clean and intact. As you can see, by the massive seagull colony that lives atop the basketball gym, we need to be more effective at cleaning up behind ourselves. Number 5, use cell phone and electronic communication devices appropriately. The district policy states there is no place for cell phones or electronic communication devices in classes. We understand that some teachers use cell phones as an instructional support in classes when other forms of media aren't available or they just won't do. However, we need to understand that this is an exception, not the norm. Please be aware of your teacher's stance on cell phones in class. Do not mix up the policies of your different teachers, and certainly do not use one teacher's policy to try to influence another teacher's policy. If a teacher requests that you put away a cell phone, do so quickly. The results are always best when you follow your teacher's instructions. If you are in doubt, put it away.
Hi, I'm Ivana Rogers, Assistant Principal of House 2. During school hours, all students are expected to stay on campus except for lunch. Parking lots, athletic fields, locker rooms, and tennis courts are considered out of bounds during school hours. If you are seen leaving any of those areas, you are subject to search. Let's talk about bathrooms. We all need to use them. During school hours, you are expected to have a hall pass when you are using the restroom. Please remember that if you are using a single-use bathroom, there's only one person in there at a time. If 2 or more people are seen leaving the bathroom, you are all subject to search. Please remember, vandalism and vaping is not allowed in any of our bathrooms at school.
Hi, it's Mr. Baker. I need to talk to you about attendance. It's just super important for you to be here every day, Monday through Friday, and to be on time to all your classes. Unless, of course, you have a legitimate reason not to be here, in which case your parents need to call it in to excuse the absence within 48 hours. Some reasons why you might have an excused absence include illness, medical appointments, court appearances, religious holidays, pre-approved independent study, pre-approved school activities, or a pre-approved college visit. Let me make it clear that too many tardies is going to get you a detention. That's right, 2 tardies to the same class or 4 tardies to different classes in the same week will earn you an after-school detention. If you're cutting class, or if you have 6 or more unexcused absences, that's going to trigger a mandatory meeting with your parents. I also want to talk to you about harassment. Castro Valley is no place for hate, and harassment of any kind will not be tolerated. This can include physical bullying, degrading or derogatory comments, electronic, cyber, or sexual harassment. Putting people down due to their real or perceived race, religion, gender, or sexual identity is just plain wrong and will not be tolerated here at CVHS. Any sort of racist or anti-Semitic symbolism, such as a noose or swastika, will be dealt with immediately and can result in suspension from school. Social media is a big deal these days, I guess. You got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitch, Tumblr, whatever. But none of these are a good place to be harassing others. In fact, when you harass people using social media, it leaves an electronic record, also known as evidence. You might think that those comments or that embarrassing photo will just dissolve in a few seconds, but it's easy enough for anyone to take a screenshot and then share with whoever they choose. That means those comments or that embarrassing photo could end up in the hands of your parents. Even if you're in direct messaging, my recommendation is that you don't post anything that you don't want your parents to see.
Hello, CVHS student body. My name is Mr. Fortenberry. I'm an assistant principal over athletics. I'm going to talk to you today about loss of privileges. Privileges is defined as anything extracurricular. You can lose those privileges by having bad attendance or bad behavior.
Hey Castro Valley High students, I'm Jesse Hansen. I'm another one of your assistant principals. I want to talk to you in this portion of the video about vaping on campus. Vaping has become a huge problem over the last few years, and I want to help you understand what we're doing to work on it and why it's important to us. So first of all, this is a school. We want you to be here. We want you to be safe. We want you to be sober. We want you to get the best out of your education. We work super hard. Your teachers, your custodians, your instructional assistants, administrators work really, really hard to help you get what you need to be successful when you leave high school and go out to your own life. And in order for you to get the most out of that, you have to be sober when you're here. So we have a set of progressive discipline here. If you get caught getting involved in vaping, for a first time, it's not a major offense where it's very public. It doesn't affect a lot of other students. We will start you off by calling home. We will give you some counseling, and we will also have loss of privilege where you lose your right to go to some school events. If you commit a major infraction, you're involved in something public, you vape in a classroom, you vape with a group of students, it's your second, third offense, you get a much more significant punishment, usually a suspension with the calls home and the counseling and all of those things. If you get in trouble repeatedly, you will get progressive discipline, which means you get larger and larger consequences. And at some point, we start to look into whether this is the right placement for you. This setting has to be free of drugs. Adults have to be sober and on their best to work with you. You've got to be here and ready to work with us. The only other point I want to make is I don't know if students are always aware of this, but as administrators, we often meet with students who are really traumatized by going into a bathroom or going to another area of campus and seeing students vaping. A lot of students feel very uncomfortable It doesn't feel like a safe environment for them to be in. So not only are we asking you to avoid these kind of things because it's better for you, but also as part of Trojan Togetherness, it's much better for the other students that we share this space with. So again, don't get involved in vaping at all. Stay away from it. If your friends are vaping, don't be around them when they're doing that, or you could get in trouble. If you need some help, come and talk to a counselor or an administrator, and we will help you out. You know, the last thing I would say, which is in another part of this podcast, if you were involved in, you know, selling any type of vaping device here, you could be expelled. It's extremely serious. So do school, do it the right way. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Luna, Assistant Principal for House 5. I'm here to talk to you today about Castro Valley High School's policy of progressive consequences. Consequences increase with repeated infractions. Low-level consequences could be warnings, parent-guardian contact, detention, and the non-privileged list. If you don't follow through with those detentions, a more intensive consequence will be assigned. Sometimes a restorative option can be offered to the student to repair the harm. High-level consequences might include suspension, Friday school, behavior contracts, and possibly even expulsion recommendation. Please see our discipline matrix on page 23 of our student handbook.
Hello again, Trojans. This is Principal Blaine Torpy. Thank you so much for giving us your undivided attention as we reviewed our expectations for student behavior. While we have many positive things and many incredible programs here to support students, I also want to be very serious and have you understand what are some of the big issues that could potentially lead to you being removed from our school community. It is the worst thing that could happen. However, you need to understand sale, possession, or furnishing a firearm, any sort of gun, brandishing a knife at another person, selling any controlled substance, drugs, prescription drugs, sexual assault or sexual battery, or the possession of an explosive. Any of those issues could result in you being recommended for expulsion, which would lead to you being removed from our school community. I want each and every one of you to be a part and remain a part of our school community. So please, if you need support, reach out to us, know the expectations, live by the expectations, and I'll see you out in the quad.